When you were like transitioning, let's say like the time you had, once you did after, you said you sat down for a bit, you had to, evaluate everything. Was there something or somebody or something you were doing like that helped you shift your mindset? Because like you knew you wanted to change,
right?
But what was that thing that helped you to actually?
Right. I think that spirituality is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Whatever your spirituality might be, whatever your religion might be. For me, it was my higher power, like to tap in, because at that time when you're making a transition and you're elevating, you're really battling demons.
Yeah.
You're battling trauma. You're battling old destructive habits. So it's like the only way to really combat that is to tap into your higher power.
Right.
And in that space, that's what I did, and I got closer to God, and I realized that I can't do anything without God.
Make sure y'all follow, make sure y'all like, make sure y'all comment, make sure y'all subscribe, make sure y'all share, make sure y'all tell y'all mamas, make sure you tell everybody, cousins, baby mamas, kids. I told mine. Tell them to come subscribe, tell them to come watch, tell them to come learn something, you know what I mean? Make sure you follow all the people who are on this platform. Make sure you check out their websites, their Instagrams. Make sure you check out my website, my Instagram. All that should be below, hotheads.com. If you're interested in advertisement, if you're interested in sponsoring, if you're interested in being on the podcast, reach out, you know what I mean? You can reach out by email, you can reach out by Instagram, you can reach out on the website. However way, reach out, let me know. All right, we back at it, another episode of the Hot Heads Podcast. Got another special guest on here again. Let her go ahead and introduce herself.
All right, my name is Jillian Sumter. I'm the CEO of KZM Enterprise. I'm an author, motivational speaker, healthcare worker, mom extraordinaire.
Okay, a lot.
Yeah.
That's dope. Before we get into it, how was your week?
Busy.
Yeah.
Busy, yes. Super busy. Like, I'm constantly, like, moving. So, busy, but it's a good week. Busy's good,
Yeah. How long have you been doing everything? So you have your book? When this come out?
This came out in 2020 during the pandemic.
Okay.
So I have one book. I actually have two versions of this book.
Okay.
And I have an ebook that's coming out too.
Okay.
So working on my ebook, I had a release date for 4/23. I didn't meet that deadline. That happens. Things happen.
Absolutely.
But definitely have the ebook coming out too, which is called The Refining of a Diamond.
Okay.
So just kind of like going back and looking at my life right now and the transitions that I'm going through in my life and like the different changes that are happening in my life, and things fall apart to come together, and you know, I'm in a good space, but I understand that has to happen in order for me to grow into the next level to where I'm going to go. So it's like that's what that's about, literally. But yeah.
How long have you been doing speaking and stuff?
Oh wow, I've been speaking, like honestly, I've been speaking for like 12 years.
Really?
So, yeah, I started off speaking. I've been working in healthcare for 12 years, and the sector of healthcare I worked in is HIV specialty. So I started off speaking at like high schools and stuff like that, focusing on HIV prevention for children, and then it went into women and children, substance abuse. I really worked in every sector HIV, but that's what built my public speaking skills.
Okay.
And so after, you know, throughout doing that, when I started my business, I realized I wanted to write a book. And then people started booking me to speak about entrepreneurship. And so it kind of just rolled from there. So I told myself this year, like, I wanted to become an international public speaker.
Okay.
Got a lot of work to do, but I've been like booked like back to back to back for speaking. So it's like you gotta be careful what you ask for, because it definitely happens. But yeah, I've been doing it for a minute now. That's so crazy. I don't have a problem with getting up and talking in front of people.
Right.
Yeah.
What was the business you started?
It's a business consulting firm. So basically, I started off with helping small businesses get started with their like LLC, tax filings and things of that nature. It's now grown into more of a corporate and nonprofit consulting, where we do program development, grant research, data monitoring, analytics, like all that type of stuff for nonprofits and stuff like that. Yeah, it's cool. You know what I mean? You know, life gets you. It's hard, you know, being a mother. It's hard being a woman in business. It's hard being a professional and still having to like conquer every aspect of your life and still be successful in each part of it. So it's not easy at all. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say it's easy, but you know, the goal, the motto is to keep pushing and just keep pushing forward. So
right. So let's go a little bit into the journey. All right. high school, was this your mindset?
No. Like, I grew up in the hood. I couldn't even tell you. Honestly, in my book, I talk about where I was in my senior year. Like, my mother was sick and my sister was sick at the same time.
Wow.
And so I went from taking care of my mother to taking care of my sister, and I didn't have an option for college. And so survival was really, like, the number one goal for me. Like, honestly, like, I don't know if anybody had, I know people had, but it's like, you take care of people at that age, like, and all you worried about, you looking at your younger siblings or your nieces and nephews and everybody ready to eat. You make certain choices that are not good choices. You get what I'm saying? And so, no, I had no idea that I would be here. I knew I was different, you know what I mean? But I never really knew that I would be here doing what I'm doing. You get what I mean? And sometimes it's still hard to believe. You get what I'm saying? Like, people would, like, my friend asked me, like, why do people always ask you to speak? Because he's curious. Like, why do they ask you to speak out of everybody? And I think that energy doesn't lie, and I think real recognizes real, and I think that other people see your potential before you do. Right. And so I'm just rolling with it.
Wow.
Yeah. Just rolling with it.
All right, so let's say, around as you said about senior year, that's when everything's going on. When was the first time you, like, made a decision where, like, I'm gonna do something entrepreneurial, or I'm gonna do something to better my life or change my situation?
Right. So I think the beginning of that mindset was illegal. It was like an illegal situation.
Absolutely.
But even in that, that's misplaced ambition. Right. And so through my trials and tribulations, as far as that's concerned, I learned that the streets and that corporate America or entrepreneurship is really the same thing. Right. Again, it's just misplaced ambition. And so I knew that the people that I encountered, they taught me things in the street. You get what I'm saying? And things that I learned in the street, I applied to entrepreneurship. You get what I'm saying? And it's really the same thing. And so that's why I don't judge people that, have been in prison or are in the street currently. Again, it's misplaced ambition. You just don't, you want more, but you just don't know how to really get it, or you want it to come quick. And so I started, I'm an entrepreneur, avenues then. And I met with somebody who really turned my perception of that whole lifestyle around. And they said, Jill, you're beautiful, you're smart, you deserve more, you can do better. And then that's when I decided to slow down, go back to school. I went back to college because, like I said, college wasn't an option after I got out of high school. I went back to college and got my degree. And once I went to business school, I'm like, okay, I learned all the things that I needed to learn to apply to business. All the things I was learning in my career, I could apply to my business. So it was like, I feel like God gave me another opportunity to basically live the life that I was destined to live without the distractions that I had in the beginning. So, that's that.
Yeah. So what was the first thing you did, entrepreneurial?
So I used to have,
legally.
Right. So so basically I had a nonprofit group for kids, and it was like a little dance group, and I did that because at the time my nieces were teenagers, and I was trying to keep them out of trouble, keep them busy. So we started with that. That gained a lot of momentum, which made people look at the group in its whole. Yeah. And so one day, I used to make their clothes all the time for them. So one day we had an event, and I made their clothes for them, and everybody's like, well, what is that they got on? So then I moved into doing a little clothing line. Gotcha. Nothing on this level. I'm still young. You get what I'm saying? Absolutely. And so I'm hustling. I'm trying to figure out, but I'm knocking off jeans. I'm making t-shirts. I'm knocking them off. People's buying it. I'm having fashion shows. So it was working. So I'm like, okay, that's cool. I talk about in my book, I succumbed to partying and alcoholism, and how that people don't realize that small addictions like that can be detrimental to your future. You get what I mean? Yeah. And so I had gotten into some trouble because of that, and I was forced to sit down and really reevaluate my life as a woman. You're not a child anymore. You're not a young woman anymore. You're growing into being a woman, and how do you carry yourself? And so that's when I started coming up with a business consultant. I was finishing school and stuff, and I'm like, oh, this could be my lane. This could be my lane, and it works for me. You get what I'm saying? And now looking into other avenues of entrepreneurship, brick and mortar locations, vending machines, all different types of things now. As I'm growing, I'm learning that. you get caught up in the name part of it, like people know your name, but now for me, it's really about absolutely building generational wealth and opportunities for my family. You get what I'm saying? Because I know one change that I make will essentially be available and change the trajectory of my family in the future, and the choices that they make. So it's like, that's where I'm at as far as that's concerned. So
when you were like transitioning, let's say like the time you had, once you did after, you said you sat down for a bit, you had to, evaluate everything. Was there something or somebody or something you were doing like that helped you shift your mindset? Because like you knew you wanted to change.
Right.
But what was that thing that helped you to actually...
Right. I think that spirituality is a big part of it.
Yeah.
Whatever your spirituality might be, whatever your religion might be. For me, it was my higher power, like to tap in, because at that time when you're making a transition and you're elevating, you're really battling demons. Yeah. You're battling trauma. You're battling old destructive habits. So it's like the only way to really combat that is to tap into your higher power. Right. And in that space, that's what I did, and I got closer to God, and I realized that I can't do anything without God. Like for me, I don't do hair, I don't do eyelashes, I don't do all of these like tangible things that can bring. So I had to really dig inside of myself and say, what am I good at? And that comes through spirituality, talking to God. And I learned how to meditate. I learned how to pray. I learned how to listen to the signs. I had great discernment. I could pick up what people are from the beginning, and sometimes that pisses me off because I be like, let me give them a chance. You get what I'm saying? But I learned now that what I see is what it is. Right. You get what I mean? So it's on a deeper level. Yeah. It's definitely on a deeper level. But I encourage people when they ask me, people ask me that all the time, like, what God, like Allah, Buddha, whatever it is that you believe in. But in order to find your highest self, you do have to tap into that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it's like, that's that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. I know you read. Mm-hmm. I know you read. You listen to like interviews, podcasts, stuff like that too? You do stuff like that? I like for as far as podcasts go, I'm big on Drink Champs. Is actually my favorite one. Like, I'm a hip hop head. Like, I love music and stuff. Like, I love music, R&B, whatever. So Drink Champs is my favorite one. Okay. Because I feel like Nori is so real and raw, and it's entertaining. So that's my favorite one. I don't watch anything like any type of entrepreneur type of, you know what I mean? Really? I'm big on books. Yeah. Big on books. Tell me a good book.
Think and Grow Rich.
Absolutely.
The Alchemist.
Yeah. What order did you read that?
So I actually read Think and Grow Rich first. Okay. Then I read 48 Laws of Power. Okay. Then I read The Alchemist. Okay. I'm not big on The Secret. It's not one of my favorite ones, but I know it's a big one. Yeah. I read a lot of books. I've read a lot of books.
You ever read Seven Habits of Highly Effective People?
No, I just was told I was supposed to read that, and I just bought Atomic Habits too. Okay. So I got those, but I didn't get into those yet. But I know that's one I do have to read. Yeah, I know. I heard it was a good one. Yeah.
That one changed my life like completely.
Right.
That book changed my life. Another good one is No Excuses. Brian Tracy. That's another good one. It's similar to like Seven Habits, but it's like more direct. Right. It's more like telling you like, you tripping, bro. Right. Saying, you know what I mean? But in Seven Habits, it's more like the nice
way of saying.
The therapist, like, you should. Right. It's that way. So it's the same concept, but a different approach.
Yeah, I definitely was told I need to read that one, so I need to order that ASAP.
Yeah. They got it at Target too. I just bought another one at Target the other day. But along the journey, what are some obstacles you face like along this journey of building the new version of yourself?
Battling your own destructive ways.
Ooh, that's a big one.
Yeah,
that's a big one.
Like really looking within yourself. Yeah. And saying you was wrong. Right. Or you handled that wrong. Right. And resolving it. Yeah. And dissolving it, because people believe in karma, but karma can be dissolved by one. You get what I'm saying? Absolutely. So it was like dissolving my karma, apologizing to myself for the choices that I made. I talked about that on another podcast, that I wrote a letter to myself and like apologized to my younger self for the choices I made, because I was like beating myself up for things that I had done that included me being loyal to other people, my loyalty to my family, and then I was mad at myself because I felt like that set me back. Relationships. You get what I'm saying? And so it's like I had to like forgive myself, and when I did that, I recently did that. My whole life started to change. Like for me to be happy, like, and me to choose me, not me to choose my children, not me to choose somebody else, but for me to choose me. And so that was a big one. Like just forgiving myself, and you got to talk nice to yourself. You got to spend the most time with yourself.
Absolutely.
It's not in a book. It's not at the church. It's not at the, like, you know, when I say digging into your higher power, like God is in us. Like we are gods. You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And so it's like really tapping into that. And blocking out distractions, because people will come and say things about you because people are committed to not understanding you. People are committed to making you the bad guy.
That's a good one.
So how do you stand 10 toes down when people are saying this and that about you? You know what I mean? And I don't care about what people think of me, but I do care about my community. Because that's why I do what I do.
Absolutely.
So I do care about the perception, but at some point you have to say, look, you're committed to not understanding me. Just like before we got started, you said, I understand your demeanor and why you are the way you are.
Absolutely.
That could be offensive to some people, but that's not for me to try to explain. You get it or you don't get it.
Absolutely.
And so, yeah, I mean, those are some things that I battle, like, in the journey, like, for real, and, like, choosing me.
How did you get to the... I know this is a topic that, like, I think everybody struggles with at some point. Or at least when you're on the journey of like transitioning yourself, right? As a person, you do have a lot of people have an issue with like self-evaluation, really seeing yourself for really who you are. Like people have a perception of who they are, but don't really look at who you really are, and they get stuck in that lifestyle. And there's like,
I am who I am.
I am who I am, and if you don't ever like accept the fact of like, I'm a scumbag, or I'm this and I'm that, you'll never be able to change it if you don't. So what was the process like of you accepting who you really were?
Shadow work, yo. Like being real with yourself. Like really, okay, Jillian, this person might have said something. Maybe somebody you value their opinion might have been like, you need to be better at being punctual. Look at it. He's right. He probably did. He means the best for me, right? What I'm saying? So let me consider that. Why am I late? Because my habits are bad. Why are my habits bad? Because I don't have a routine. And like really digging into it like that. But like you said, people don't, for whatever reason, ego, pride, all of those sins, 7 sins,
absolutely,
will be detrimental to your growth. And like destroying your ego, destroying those pride issues. It's hard work. It's hard work.
What do you think? What would you tell somebody who, because it's like everybody's dealing with it. You know, majority of us have been dealing with that ego, them issues. Like, so what would you tell somebody who's dealing with that?
What ego, like destroying their ego?
How to destroy your ego.
To be vulnerable. Be open for understanding. Be open for growth. Like, people don't want to hear nobody else. I'm very in tune. Like I said, I have great discernment. I'm in tune to what people tell me. So I had this older woman tell me that when I was younger, she was trying to show me something, and I kept like talking over her. And she was like, Jill, you have to learn how to listen. You got to learn how to stop. You got to learn how to listen. So it's like, be open to listening to what people have to say. And, you know, you can take what you want and then throw it out. You know what I mean? Take what you need and then throw the rest out. But it's like, it's some truth in what people say, yo. Like, it's really true. Like, somebody might say something and you got to be real with yourself. You know what I mean? And I know that's hard for some people because everybody wants to be right. Nobody wants to be wrong. Nobody wants to be the bad guy, but sometimes you're the bad guy.
Absolutely. Without a doubt.
I feel like that all the time.
I know, right. Do you have any goals for the year?
Oh man, I'm like ticking through them. Yeah. So I have the book coming out. Nice. I have some brick and mortar business things happening that I want to accomplish. I want to be happy, yo. Yeah. Like, I ain't gonna get too deep, but I just want to be happy. Like all the money, the profit, the success, subjective success is like cool. So what is but peace and happiness, like true peace and happiness, and so that's my biggest goal, and it's so far so good. Yeah.
What is happy for you?
Man, peace of mind. Go home and lay down and just be able to tune out. I love to meditate in the morning. I love to work out in the morning. I like to stick to my routine. Yeah. I like to be around my children. I like to be around my partner. I like to spend quality time with my family. You get what I'm saying? And so to do that and be at peace with what I'm doing is the biggest goal for me. Gotcha. The other stuff gonna come. They've been rolling all this time. It ain't gonna stop. You get what I'm saying? So that's my biggest goal for you.
So how did speaking start? Like what was that?
Right.
Yeah, what was that start?
Oh wow. So I was working for a company, and my supervisor used to throw me under the bus all the time. She threw me under the bus at a conference and said, "You got to go speak at this conference." So I'm shaking like a stripper. Ooh. I'm shaking. Yeah. I'm scared. I walk in and it's a conference room. Yeah. And I do the presentation and I kill it. And I'm like, oh, that's not too bad. That started me with it. Now I'm comfortable. Fast forward all these years later, the conference that I spoke at, I now work for. Ooh. Yes. That's crazy. So when I went into the interview and they were like, "Are you familiar with us?" I'm like, "Yeah, I spoke at the conference in 2013." And they were like, "Oh, wow." Like, you know what I mean? And so now I'm like, have a hands-on with planning for this annual conference for this large organization, which is regional. It goes across the state for Pennsylvania. That's crazy. So it's like, again, bring your life full circle. Like if you go with the process and you go with the flow and you allow God to be, you gonna be cool. You ain't gonna have all these different drama and this happened and all that. Like, no, I'm protected. Like I'm protected. So that started the speaking, and I just from there I was getting asked to speak at a lot of places, and that's how the book came about. I'm like, let me write something so that when I'm leaving I can have something to pass off to people. Smart. And I can make money that way. And so that's how the book came along. But I've always been an avid reader. I always wanted to write a book, but it sounds so far-fetched. Like, write a book, like, oh. Right. But during the pandemic, I got sat down. So I'm like, oh, okay, I really could do this. And I reached out to, I don't know if you know Madonna. I reached out to her because she's written several books. So I reached out to her. She like, "Jill, I got you." And like, she showed me the way. You get what I'm saying? So I'm always forever grateful to Madonna. She really has no problem with showing anybody how to do something. And so I take a chapter out of her book with that of like teaching others how to do things. And so that's how that all got started.
What when it comes to the speaking, like what do you have like a main focus, like a general?
It depends on who I'm talking to. Okay. I talk to kids, I talk to Empire booked me to come speak to their class, and I talked about entrepreneurship. Okay. And we talked about sexual assault on the healthcare side. Wow. But talked about mostly about entrepreneurship because a lot of those women that come out of there are going to be entrepreneurs. Right. They just don't realize that yet. Talking to Empire, I've been in prisons to speak in prisons. Wow. But my goal ultimately is to be an international motivational speaker. Nice. And travel the world with that, take my kids, take my loves and tow and be out and see the world like that and sell my books. And, and so that's my larger goal. Right. Yeah. Right. Live on an island somewhere and be cool, happy.
Absolutely. Being away from all
that. Yes.
That's really my goal. My goal, man, listen, the only thing I think about day by day is just that freedom. I'm trying to a house big enough where I ain't gotta leave unless I want to leave. Got everything in the backyard that I want in the backyard. Right. Enough space for me to have my area to do what I need to do. You know what I mean? Like that's really it. Like freedom. Vacation. Yeah, I vacation at home. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And travel when I want to travel.
Exactly. As long as the ones is there you love, that's all that matters. That's the vacation right there.
That's it. Yeah. What do you think is the best and the worst part of this field in particular?
And what, the entrepreneurship?
Speaking, just what you
for
do.
me is that I have to stay consistent.
Yeah.
So you have to constantly be working on branding and images and things like that, which is not my strong suit. Like I could tell people what they need to do and map it all out, but for me, when I told you when I had wanted to do a podcast, I feel exposed.
Right.
And so for me, I can't duck off and be gone for 6 months.
Right.
Like,
right.
You know, it's kind of the life you choose. It's like the mud with the marble with this. You get what I'm saying? And so it's like, and another thing is that when you live this kind of public lifestyle, people feel entitled to have opinions on your life. And so that's the hardest part for me.
Right.
Like that's the hardest part for me because I'm like, mind your business.
Right.
And then it's like, but we minded your business when it was good. We mind your business when it's spicy. You want to mind it too. And so it's like, for me, it's being an adult, being grown, and understanding that, like, I chose this, and this is what's going to come with it.
Right.
But also on the back end is make sure that I keep my integrity intact, though, when I'm doing certain things. Like, yeah, I can move a certain way and say, I don't care. Right. But am I really looking at the whole bigger picture? Right. What example am I setting? And so, like, you know, it's hard. That's the hardest part for me. The best part is that I choose what I want, what I can do, and what I don't want to do. I can say yes or no. I can say not right now. I can say I'm busy, and that's a blessing, you know, for me. So,
how many kids do you have?
I have 3 children.
You have 3?
Yeah.
Tell me something you've learned about motherhood over the years. Something that you didn't expect.
That every child is not the same, and that we are not always right as parents.
Absolutely.
But see, the generation I grew up in, my mother didn't play, and I was raised by my sister, and my sister didn't play. And so, foot on necks 24/7. You ain't got no say so. Your feelings up. We don't care.
Right.
That was in the 80s and the 90s.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
It's different now, and so I have that same mentality with my kids. Is it good? No.
Right.
But I feel like my children are going to be beasts when they get to a certain age, because I know the things that I went through and the things I like experienced, it made me who I am.
Absolutely.
But I do need to slow down and like be more sympathetic and empathetic to their feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I miss when my kids was little, when I go tell them to lay down. I'm thirsty. Go lay down. Right. And they ain't gonna go lay down. They want to tell you why they ain't laying down, write a dissertation of why they ain't gonna lay down, why they don't want to do it. Like, I'm like, this age is different. Yeah.
How old is your oldest?
22.
22.
Yeah, sorry. 22, 16, and 11.
Yeah. So how was all right, so what I'm dealing with now, I'm gonna ask, I'm trying to get some advice, all right? So let's say, what's this for? Hey,
it is what it is. Somebody out there need to hear it.
You know what I mean? All right. So you see, I have my son's about to be 8 tomorrow. That one. She's about to be 11 in a month. My oldest son is about to be 13. So out of nowhere, he just became this dope, mature boy. Out of nowhere. Before that, it was like 3 months went by and he transitioned. But before that, I was dealing with like the fact of he was super emotional.
Right.
Super emotional, and I'm not emotional.
Right.
Like I ain't got that. So my demeanor towards him was like, you know, you gonna do this, you need to do this. Like, why you so lazy? Like, bro, and he would get emotional about it. And I'm starting to see the same trend happening with my 8-year-old, where it's like, at first when he was younger, like I thought we was on the same page. Like, bro, you good? I talk to you a certain way, you understand, like, and I even ask him like how he feels and all that type of stuff. But it gets emotional, right? So I'm trying to figure out, is there a point where your kids just understood you? Like, did they just understand?
No.
Nah.
No. So I helped raise my nieces, and after my sister's passing, and it was hard. Like, we went through so many transitions because I really cared for them like as if they were my children. That was a promise that I made to my sister. So it got to a certain extent where they were going through things in their life after they were out of my care that we didn't see eye to eye on. And I did have to separate myself I had to give them space to grow and space to become who they were going to become without the pressure of my opinion and the way I do things. And after they saw what life was like, it was like, okay, they came back like, Aunt Jill, Mom, like, I get why you did the things you did. I understand now as a woman, and I apologize, and I apologize to them for being so rough. My kids, it's still a learning because they haven't hit that real life. They still live in a life that I seen a meme that said we project kids raising suburban kids.
That's my problem.
Yeah, we project kids raising suburban kids, and so it's like my kids don't know what it's like not to have food. My kids don't know what it's like not to have hot water. My kids don't know what it's like to come home to electricity and a cable. Wasn't no Wi-Fi. We outside thugging. Ain't no cable. Ain't no nothing. We playing till it's time to go to bed. So it's like they don't, and so that's hard for me. And I just had this conversation this morning about ways that I can parent better. It's a constant. But again, as long as you're learning and being open to learn how to raise your children, you should be fine. Just don't get stuck in your way. Like, I was raised this way. These kids are different.
Absolutely.
Kids commit suicide because they feel that nobody understands them. My thing, I'm big on respect. Give me respect like I give you respect. If I ask you to do something and you feel as though you don't want to do it, communicate that. But you're not going to slam doors and throw stuff and all that. That's disrespectful. Say, Mom, I don't agree with you. And we can have some dialogue. You get what I'm saying? And we can come to a conclusion that we can agree to disagree, or you can explain to me better why you think you do it better, or why you don't want to clean your room. Tell me what's your reason. So it's like being open.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What are 3 words to describe Jillian?
I'm multifaceted, and driven, and I love. Like, I'm big on leading in love. Like, everything, if I tell somebody something, it's in love. It's never that I'm hating on you. It's never that I don't think I'm better than you or I'm judging you. It's in pure love. And like every encounter, I want to leave people better than I found them. You get what I'm saying? Some people might not agree with that, but I know who I am, and I know how I move, and I do move accordingly. If you give me an energy, I'm not gonna match your energy. I'm gonna peace out, because you where you belong. But it's like, those are 3 words that describe me.
What do you do for peace?
Work out, meditate.
Okay.
Yeah, big on that. I used to do this thing, self-care Sundays, like hot bath, wrap my hair up, take care of my temple, take care of my body. But yeah, meditation is the biggest one. Woo! That's once you master that. The things I've manifested just this year. And I think that people they think that manifestation and meditation, you have to look at the bigger picture. You don't have to you can start with, what do I want next week? What do I want tomorrow? Like, and the things that I've encountered and done. And I think that meditation and manifestation, I believe, is just faith that God won't bring you somewhere where he won't carry you. So it's like, God, I know you, this is what I want, you know my heart, you know I'm trying to do right. This is what I need. And then, through faith, you can manifest these things. You get what I'm saying? But you got to see the picture clear. And so that's where I find my peace at. It's like, I'm gonna be all right. Gotta get through today.
Yeah. No, that's super dope. I gotta look in more into like meditation and stuff.
It's a powerful thing. It's a powerful thing. Ain't nothing wrong with it. It's in the Bible.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into it. I've never I'm a thinker. I'm a deep thinker. I sit there and I chill, and but I never the art of actually doing it. I never really dug into it and understand. I never tried to understand it. I never tried to understand it, but I am. What you just said, you're gonna make me look into it now. At this point, what's something you're working on with that?
Dissolving my karma. I'm in another space of dissolving my karma because I feel guilty about certain things I did, even though I shouldn't feel guilty about them. I had to choose me. But I'm in that process of, I know that I'm going to go through another stage of having to apologize to myself, apologize to the people that I felt I did wrong, so I could sleep at night, even if they was wrong.
Yep.
Let me just say it so that I could just get it off of me. Like, I apologize if you feel some type of way, and dissolving any karma that I feel like may come. Because again, that's manifestation.
Absolutely.
You're manifesting negative outcomes.
Absolutely.
But if I dissolve it and say, hey, I'm sorry, is there something I can do to fix it?
Right.
I apologize. It didn't work for me. It didn't work for you. I'm sorry that you feel this way.
Right.
Do you accept my apology? If you don't, that's fine. I'm gonna pray for me. I'm gonna pray for you. Like, that. Like, I don't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that's my next, that's my next self, like my next growth, being better with finances, being better with time management. It's always room for growth. Yeah.
So tell me about the book a little bit.
So the book just basically, I share a lot of my experiences in my journey, like in my earlier journey, that and how I applied it to who I am today. So basically, like, just, I wanted to really relate to people, because people might see you up here speaking at the city, or see you speaking up here on this big platform, and think that you're better, and I'm not.
Right.
I come from where you come from, and I went through these things. I was in an abusive relationship. I did illegal things. I made some bad choices. I had kids out of wedlock. Like, I'm regular. But the difference between me is I have no problem with being transparent and saying that, like, I'm still growing. I'm still making bad choices. I'm still, nobody's perfect. But that's my superpower, is that I don't break. And I keep going, and I keep moving forward. It's just going to refine me. And so it's like, that's where I'm at with that. Like, and so as far as the book, just sharing those things and giving people tips. Like, speaking on meditation, I talk about meditation in the book. This is how you meditate. Like, start with 1 minute. It's not, it's lay down on your back. When you first wake up in the morning, say, thank you, Lord, for waking me up. Thank you to your higher power for waking you up. Say a little prayer, and then just listen and see what you come up with, and just clear your mind. And then I give tips on, like, what people think is success. Success is subjective. You can't look on social media and see people with rented cars from Turo and assume that they're successful than you.
Absolutely.
You have to know what it is that you want. And so just breaking those things down, of gems that I receive from other people, things that I've come up with on my own, and sharing them with people that I hope that they can, like, grow from it. And I've gotten so much great feedback. Yeah,
that's dope.
A lot of good feedback.
So advice to anyone coming up, young women, young men, anything, advice on, life in general, because I mean, I pretty much see you're not just speaking on one subject, like, just life in general. Like, what's some advice, some key advice you would give?
Key advice to young men and women. For women, don't settle. Don't settle for what you think you're only gonna get. Like, I'm gonna stay in this relationship because this is the best I can get. Like, if you want a man that's 6'2", brown, with a job and a pickup truck or a fast car, go after that. But in the process, make sure you are top tier too. But don't settle for just anything in life just because it's there. Work for it and go after it. As far as young men, I would encourage them to get mentors, positive Black males in their life, or positive Latino male in their life. Seek programming, seek, like, learning how to communicate and be emotional, because in that, a man can lead his household.
Absolutely.
If a man is vulnerable, emotional, he communicates, he believes in God, he has a vision for his family, your family is going to automatically come up under that, and there ain't going to be no problem. Y'all going to have issues. Y'all going to bicker, but for the most part, everybody's moving in sync because there's a head of him.
Absolutely.
And so that comes with being vulnerable and resolving, and then collectively, therapy. It's okay to go talk to somebody.
Yeah.
It's okay to go bounce your ideas off. And you might go to therapy and they might say, yeah, you wrong.
Right.
That's why people don't go back.
Right.
They don't like that somebody told them, what have you. You just said you called your mom the B word because she didn't give you $20.
Right.
But I'm supposed to tell you was right. No, you was wrong.
Right.
And so it's like therapy is a good thing to like check you too. Yeah.
Absolutely. We're gonna get ready to wrap it up. Where can people find you and all that?
Right. So this book's on Amazon. Also, I have a website. You can follow me at _Jill Effect on Instagram. And then this book is on Barnes and Nobles and also Amazon by Carter Tarantino. And this is also another book about 14 laws of growth. And so this one is more of like the 7 pillar kids out there playing. This is more about 7 pillars of bringing your life full circle, and this one is like specific to growth. And so I feel as though I learned a lot from reading the book. You get what I'm saying? And another positive black male who is trying to grow and impact the community. And so it's like definitely stamp that for sure too.
What was the name again?
Carter Tarantino on Instagram. Yep. Okay. And then it's on Barnes and Nobles as well. Mine is on Amazon, and also you can purchase it like on my website, which the link is in my bio on Instagram. Okay,
got you. Now I appreciate you.
Absolutely.
And then any last words, anything you want to say to people before we head out?
Purchase these books.
You have a YouTube or anything like that?
I do have a YouTube, and I'm actually building a lot of my content behind the scenes. I'm waiting to once I roll everything out, I want to have 6 months worth of content ready to go. Yeah. So we've been filming a lot behind the scenes. Everywhere we go, our day in our life, what we do. Yeah. Meals we cook, places we visit. And so hopefully in the next 6 months we have enough content to go ahead and roll it out. But I think it's going to be something that the people really, really like. Yeah. These kind of conversations.
Absolutely.
Raw conversations. Yeah. Not no cute shit.
Right. Ain't nobody trying to be sexy.
Yeah, no, not.
Nah, yeah, definitely. It's necessary, That's why I like doing the podcast, because I can, have a lollipop conversation and
absolutely.
Whatever. But when I want to turn it off, I turn it off. You know
right?
What I mean?
Absolutely, I get that.
But make sure you follow her. Make sure you follow everything she's doing. Grab a book or two. You know what I mean? And make sure you comment, like, subscribe on the video. And we out of here.